What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to two of my subscribers for showing love to the channel. Much respect to the brother Ant from Atlanta for the $2 donation. Via the Cash App, he says, "Talk your shit, Brody." Absolutely. I'm going to give my opinion on the subjects that I want to talk about. That's what YouTube is for. Debate, give and take. You don't have to agree with my opinion. A lot of people tell me they don't agree with my opinion. That's fine. I listen to other people. Sometimes I learn. But I'm not going to be shamed. I'm not going to be fucking castrated by anybody on here because they don't like to hear someone who feels like they know what they're talking about who happen to be of a different skin complexion. That's just how it's going to be. I'm not going to stop talking about certain things. You know? I always learned this early being on YouTube. A lot of these channels that stay away from race or stay away from certain issues like race, I mean, I understand you're not supposed to like just totally saturate your channel with that unless that's your thing. But what I've learned is that when you try to appease certain audiences, you don't gain their respect. You don't gain their respect. Or they'll listen to you. They'll use you, but they don't really respect you. But when you're a person that stands up for what you believe in and you say what the fuck you mean, even the people who hate on you, they listen to you because you've earned their respect. They may not like you, but they respect you. And I'd rather be respected than loved. I don't care if you don't love me. I don't care if you don't like me. But I just want people to respect where I'm coming from. And that's all that matters to me. So anyway, shout out to you, brother, for showing love. And I also want to give a big shout out once again to the brother Elijah for the $50 donation via the Cash App. Elijah's been a long-time subscriber since 2015. One of the most loyal Golden State Warrior fans. Was with them when they were down. And now they're back. They've proven their championship medal. And Steph Curry has proven to be one of the great players of all time. So much respect to the brother Elijah for showing love to the channel. And to anyone that want to show love to this channel, if you choose to, you can do so in the links in the description box below via the PayPal or the Cash App or in the pinned comment in the comments section below. Charles Barkley, now segue into this. Charles Barkley is one of the greatest players of all times. And I think he's actually underrated. Yes, I think he's underrated. Because I think Charles Barkley, in many ways, was a transformative figure for a power forward in this league. And I'll tell you why. Before Charles Barkley, most power forwards were centers light. Like, provided some post scoring, played defense, rebound. That's what you mostly expected from a power forward. Right? Most power forwards was between 6'8", 6'10", 6'11". Of course, you had your rarities like Ralph Sampson, 7'4". Now, where Ralph Sampson was, his transformative was in the fact that he brought some skills that you didn't see with power forwards, which was passing ability, right? Now, the only thing with Sampson was he wanted to be turned to a fucking point guard and shit. So Sampson predates Barkley, but Barkley brought some shit to the table that we haven't seen before. Barkley was only 6'4.5", right? But could jump like a pogo Like he was on a pogo stick and shit. Now, I'm not saying he was Zion Williamson, but the brother had athleticism, all right? Especially when he was younger. And it was weird seeing a dude built the way he was built, jumping like that. Barkley was 6'4". In college, he was 300 pounds with titties and shit. You might have seen him in the fast break old videos. His titties bouncing up and down, but the motherfucker could ball and shit, man. Averaging, 16 and 9 in college? But then he came to the pros, and he said he only thing he wanted to do was average 10 rebounds a game in the pros. He never thought that he would be the player he was. But Barkley brought a physicality to the game that belied his size. Like 6'4". Think about a player that's 6'4" and 265 or 250 when he got to his peak playing weight. Playing back then, all those trees, 7-footers. The tallest year statistically in the NBA was 1986-87. And that's the year Barkley averaged the most rebounds in his career, 14.6. 14.6. So you bring this great rebounder in a small package who was a terror in the fast break, but he could also dominate in the half court, right? We know that he was, you couldn't stop the motherfucker. He back his fucking huge ass. The motherfucker would back your ass up. The whole goddamn possession, he get the basketball. He could be near the fucking free throw line. And he back your ass up, back that motherfucker because he was too fucking strong. And then he would fucking score. He would either score, attempt to score. Most of the times he scored. And if after a while he scored, right, when he scored 4 or 5 buckets in a row, the defense started keying in on him. But damn, when you start doing that, boom, he kicks it to Brent Price for 3. Boom, he kicks it to Michael Dickerson for 3. Or he kicks it to Cuttino Mobley for 3. Or kick it to somebody, or Drexler for an open jumper or 3. And that's how the Rockets was killing people. The only reason why I think the Rockets didn't go farther than what they should have is because of injuries to their core of Drexler, Barkley, and Elijah Wan as they got older. And also, I'm mentioning Charles Barkley's passing ability. But then the league started implementing a rule to stop that shit. And before I get into that point, I want to mention something. To me, the NBA has always tried, I think there's always been a bias against the big man. And I'll tell you why. Prior to the NBA, prior to the ABL, prior to the BAA, when you had these smaller leagues existing, all the way back in the 1920s and 30s, at that time, the big man was unstoppable. Now, of course, back then, centers were only 6'4" and 6'5", back in the 20s and 30s, but they were unstoppable. So, as far as them controlling the game, dominating the game, roaming the paint, right? So what happened was, in the 1930s, to implement, it was this rule that was implemented throughout professional basketball leagues at that time, and stayed for the rest of basketball. And that was, they implemented the restricted rule, where you couldn't be in a restricted area for more than 3 seconds. That goes all the way back to the 1930s. All right, so that's the first strike against the big man. Then the George Mikan rule, the first George Mikan rule, which came because of how dominant he was in college at, DePaul University? And that is the defensive goaltending rule. Because he was just blocking every fucking thing. So, with that rule, hey, if the ball was at a certain trajectory and he blocks the shot, it goes to the basket. Then, when he goes into the pros, George Mikan, it's another rule where they widen the lanes because George Mikan was just too fucking dominant, defensively and offensively. So were they finished? Nope. Wilt Chamberlain comes into the league. Matter of fact, before Wilt Chamberlain is in the league, they changed another rule in college, which is that he can't dunk from the free throw line. He was this freakish athlete that, hey, they didn't say anything about that you couldn't dunk from the foul line. They said that you just got to shoot your shot from the foul line. So he would run like Dr. J and jump from the fucking free throw line and score. He was doing this. So they stopped it. Then what happened next? Well, when Wilt's in the NBA, he's dominant just like George Mikan, more so, actually, much more so. So they widen the lanes again to stop Wilt Chamberlain's dominance. Then in college, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was so dominant, they outlawed the dunk. Then, in the late 60s, going into the 70s, they laxed some of the rules. They laxed the rules as far as what centers could do defensively, so that it made it easier for their opponents to score. That's why you had guys all of a sudden like, Kareem able to average 35 points a game in the NBA, 32 points a game. Bob McAdoo, 30, 32, 35. You've seen this explosion in scoring averages from players, post players in the 1970s, because it became easier for them to score because the NBA was always all about offense. Then what happens? Well, this goes to Charles Barkley and to a lesser extent Mark Jackson, the 5-second rule. Barkley used to back your ass up, like I just said, back your ass up, back your ass up, back your ass up, back your ass up. He would try to get into a position to score. The league complained that this was tedious. The league complained that this was boring to watch, which I didn't think it was. And that's when they implemented in 1999 at the end of his career that you had to score within 5 seconds. You only could do it for 5 seconds. If you did longer, it's a violation and a turnover. And then zone. Zone just killed the big man. Eventually, man. That just killed the big man. Because, as we all know, the best way to combat a zone offensively is the three-point game. So it became more and more important to have shooters. And eventually other rule changes, man, opening the lanes, making the game more and more revolving around perimeter players. They just destroyed the center position, man. And then you wonder why a guy like me that loves the big man hates watching the NBA. I cover it because I love the NBA, but I hate the fucking game, man. I hate it. I hate how they just destroyed the center position. And people that grew up watching this, you don't give a fuck because you didn't watch what I watched. But those of us who remember the game in the 90s, it's like a whole nother fucking thing watching this league, right? But this is what I got to say in closing in this video. I'm not knocking the players up today. But it's hard for me to rank these guys higher over some players of the past because a lot of these guys have benefited from rule changes to make it easier for them to be the players that they are. I'm not saying they still wouldn't have been great in the past, but the game is suited for them to thrive. Whereas guys like Wilt, guys like Charles Barkley, guys like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in college, guys like George Mikan, all right? The game was changed to make it harder for them and to make them less dominant. So for that, I say, how can I not rank them high? But anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Tell me what you guys think.